and to shed more light on the importance and the outcomes of these meetings in Sharm el-Sheikh, we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Great, sir. So now, as we can see that the meetings, the African Bank meetings are wrapped up its activities in Sharm el-Sheikh. So can you tell us more about the outcome of these meetings?
First, we have to know that the African Bank for Development is a part of the international monetary system.
Yes.
Such as the World Bank and all these tools, we use it quite well in order to finance our investments, to finance our trade, intra-Africa trade. And it is a good opportunity to have it in Egypt. So you are hosting more than 70 countries in Egypt, 4,000 participants. And there we are making good use of the finance, making good use of propaganda for our tourism and so on.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Now I hear you.
Yes.
What's the question?
So, yeah, also for Egypt, these meetings were an excellent opportunity to collaborate and contribute to the prosperity of the continent, including climate agenda and mobilizing resources in Africa. What's your take on this?
Yes, we have several circles of cooperation between Egypt and our brothers in Africa. Whether in trade, now we have a very good opportunity with the Pan-African Free Trade Area, where more than 50 countries are participants. Now we can trade with Africa without any custom duties or any trade barriers. We have opportunities for investment in Africa, and Africa is a very good opportunity, but it needs a sort of experience which Egypt say that we have this experience. We are acceptable face in Africa, and we tried since the presidency of Egypt to the African Union to ask the donors countries, the rich countries, to invest in Africa on the African soil with the Egyptian experience. And thank God that we have a good reaction from Japan when President Sisi participated in the TICAD conference. China also, we got a positive reaction from China and from the European Union. All of them are ready to help us. But we have to help ourselves, because otherwise we want to be able to absorb the finance we are asking for, because our capability and the experience to use the money in its good time and in its place, we still have to ameliorate our experience in bureaucracy, in the banking system, in the transport, in many things. We have to make it much better in order to deserve the money we are seeking for.
So, sir, the theme of the 5-day event was mobilizing private sector financing for climate and green growth in Africa. So, by choosing this theme, does the bank intend to demonstrate that private sector financing can serve as a catalyst in bridging the gap between finance flows and Africa's climate and green growth needs?
This is also a very important subject, because we still want to take a sort of national consensus, whether in Egypt or in many of African countries, whether do we need to make the private sector have its role and do it, or some of us still dreaming that the government should do all the jobs. So, but the final decision, it was that we want to appreciate and to help the private sector to participate in our development process.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador?
Yes.
Yes. Also, how will the African Development Bank explore innovative approaches to boost the private sector finance for climate action in the continent and solve the problem of desertification, droughts? Many problems are affecting the development of the African countries. So how can they cooperate, the African nations cooperate to solve these problems?
If we are talking about finance, then you are talking about banks.
Yes.
And then you have to tackle all the problems you're talking about. Still, Africa has a long way to cover in order to be able and deserve the finance we are waiting for and we are calling for. So it is a good process with two dimensions. One, that we want the investor to decide to come to invest in our countries. On the other side, we have to prove that we deserve this by making a good banking system, by making a good bureaucracy, not making the investor to wait hours and hours in order to draw a check or to make a banking operation. Our transport system also needs to be ameliorated. Our ports cannot receive mammoth ships or big ships. Many things we have to ameliorate in our system in order to deserve this finance. Same time, we are able, after that, to call on all those who have money in order to come and to invest in our country.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, sir, for being with us.